Hello everybody and welcome back to SFF180. It is time once again, at last, for another mailbag. I'm looking forward to the day that I can go back to doing these weekly with a big old stack of physical mail for you. But I'm back this week with another haul of electronic ARCs to show you, although there is one physical copy, and that is actually one that I forgot to showcase on the previous mailbag a couple of weeks ago. Oopsie, but it happens. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get into looking at some new books, some forthcoming books for the fall and the summer. But I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're keeping yourselves as safe and healthy and as positive in your outlook as you can during these times. Yeah, let's look at some things to read here. And we're going to start, as I said, with this one physical package. This came to me from a little press called Sagging Meniscus Press, interestingly enough, and I know exactly what this is, so let's take a look. And this is a short novel with the very eye-catching title of Lake of Urine, A Love Story. I just report the news, folks. The author is Guillermo Stitch, and if you couldn't tell from the title, this, I think, is going to be weird fiction, some new weird. And it says comparable titles would be like Gormenghast, it says, a bunch of others that I don't recognize. But in any event, this will come out on July the 1st. And what in the world could a book like this be about? Well, it says, from the award-winning author of literature trademark, I guess it won something called the Ippy Gold Medal, comes a sui generis romp through every fairy tale convention and literary trope you can think of, including the wicked stepmother, the fairy godmother, Pinocchio, an enchanted penis, somehow missed that one, the goose that laid the golden egg, binary code, marmalade art, and alcoholic meat snacks you can drink. Lake of Urine might just provide this year's literary splash. Once upon a time that doesn't make a blind bit of sense in a place that seems awfully familiar but definitely doesn't exist. Willem Seiler's obsession with measuring his world, with wrapping it up in his beloved string to keep the madness out, wreaks havoc on the Wakeling family. Nornbull Wakeling, living in the scrub and toil of the pantry and in the shadow of her much-wooed and cosseted sister, is worshipped by the madman Seiler but overlooked by everyone else. As lives are lost to Seiler's vanity, she spots her chance to break free of the fetters that tie her to Tiny Village, and bolts. But some cords are never really cut. In her absence, the unraveling of the world she has escaped is complete, and another madness, her mother's, reaches out to entangle her newfound big city freedom. The unpicked quilt work of a life in ruins threatens to ruin her own, and it will be up to Nornbull to stitch it all together. Lake of Urine is a merciless takedown of self and self-importance, satirizing a society that exalts the inane, drowns out the sane, and eschews the divine for the profane. That was clever. It is also a lament for the dreadful weight of our own origins, for the heartbreaking impossibility of absolute reinvention, and the heartening tug of the ties that bind us. Okay, I definitely go for bizarre stuff like this. Maybe not all of you do, but I do. But in any event, this comes out July the 1st, and the author's from Ireland, apparently. All right, then. Lake of Urine, A Love Story, from Sagging Meniscus Press. Okay, now it's time to shift on over to the old iPad and see what I have been given NetGalley widgets for in the past couple of weeks. A few items have turned up, so we're going to start with this one, which is a YA, and it comes out tomorrow. This is a book called House of Dragons. The author is Jessica Cluess, who has written some popular YA before. And this one is described as Three Dark Crowns meets the Breakfast Club with Dragons. When the emperor dies, the 5 royal houses of Etrusia attend the call, where one of their own will be selected to compete for the throne. It is always the oldest child, the one who has been preparing for years, to compete in the trial. But this year is different. This year, these 5 outcasts will answer the call. The liar, Amelia must hide her dark magic or be put to death. The soldier, Lucian, is a warrior who has sworn to never lift a sword again. The servant, Vespear is a dragon trainer whose skills alone will keep her in the game. The Thief. Ajax knows that nothing is free, he must take what he wants. And the Murderer. Hyperia was born to rule and will stop at nothing to take her throne. And so that is it. That is House of Dragons by Jessica Cluess. I believe this is out from Simon Pulse tomorrow. And now, coming up, I have 3 titles from Tor.com Publishing. Some new novels, short novels, novellas. And the first of these is one that I've actually been really looking forward to because it's a little horror story called Out of Body. And the author is Jeffrey Ford, coming out on May the 26th, and it goes like this. A small-town librarian witnesses a murder at his local deli, and what had been routine sleep paralysis begins to transform into something far more disturbing. The trauma of holding a dying girl in his arms drives him out of his own body. The town he knows so well is suddenly revealed to him from a whole new perspective. Secrets are everywhere, and demons fester behind closed doors. Worst of all, he discovers a serial killer who has been preying on the area for over a century, one capable of traveling with him through his dreams. And Out of Body will be out, as I said, on May the 26th. Okay, and next up we have one coming out on August the 25th. That is one I've really been looking forward to myself. This is called City Under the Stars. I believe it's a full-length novel. And it's written by Gardner Dozois and Michael Swanwick. Now, Gardner Dozois, of course, is the highly respected editor. Used to edit Asimov's and had an annual best-of anthology for something like 30 years. And he died a couple of years back. And so this was the final project that he was working on in collaboration with Michael Swanwick. And it says, City Under the Stars completes a journey undertaken by Gardner Dozois and Michael Swanwick 25 years ago, when they published the novella The City of God. Over 2 decades later, the two realized there was more to the story and began the work of expanding it. Now, after Gardner Dozois' tragic passing, the story can be told in full. All right? God was in his heaven, which was 15 miles away due east. Far in Earth's future, in a post-utopian hellhole, Hansen works 10 solid back-breaking hours a day, shoveling endless mountains of coal within sight of the iridescent wall that separates what's left of humanity from their gods. One day, after a tragedy of his own making, Hansen leaves the city, not knowing what he'll do, how he will survive in the wilderness without work. He finds himself drawn to the wall, to the elusive promise of God. And when the impossible happens, he steps through into the city beyond. The impossible was only the beginning. So it sounds like a future where the haves are kind of keeping the have-nots under their thumb through kind of casting themselves in these divine roles. So interesting. But as I said, August the 25th for City Under the Stars. And then the last of the Tor.com upcoming titles is a novella called Over the Woodward Wall. This will be out October the 6th. And the author is credited as A. Deborah Baker. But you all know her, probably, a lot more well, as Shannon Maguire. A new pseudonym for her. Avery, it says, is an exceptional child. Everything he does is precise, from the way he washes his face in the morning to the way he completes his homework, without complaint, without fuss, without prompt. Zib is also an exceptional child because all children are in their own way. But where everything Avery does and is can be measured, nothing Zib does can possibly be predicted, except for the fact that she can always be relied upon to be unpredictable. They live on the same street, they live in different worlds. On an unplanned detour from home to school one morning, Avery and Zib find themselves climbing over a stone wall into the Up and Under, an impossible land filled with mystery, adventure, and the strangest creatures. And they must find themselves and each other if they are also to find their way out and back to their own lives. So Over the Woodward Wall will be out on October the 6th from Tor.com Publishing. Okay, you know what? A few minutes ago, I was wrong about the Jessica Cluess book, House of Dragons, coming out from Simon Pulse. That one is coming out from Random House, I'm sorry. But this is a different YA. That is the one that's coming out from Simon Pulse, so I got them confused. But this one looks kind of interesting. It's called Sia Martinez and the Moonlit Beginning of Everything. And the author is Raquel Vasquez Gilliland, and it comes out August the 11th. And it goes like this. It's described as Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe meets Roswell by way of Laurie Halsey Anderson in this astonishing genre-bending novel about a Mexican-American teen who discovers profound connections between immigration, folklore, and alien life. It's been 3 years since ice raids and phone calls from Mexico and an ill-fated walk across the Sonoran. 3 years since Sia Martinez's mom disappeared. Sia wants to move on, but it's hard in her tiny Arizona town, where people refer to her mom's deportation as, quote, an unfortunate incident. Sia knows that her mom must be dead, but every new moon, Sia drives into the desert and lights San Anthony and La Guadalupe candles to guide her mom home. Then one night, under a million stars, Sia's life and the world as we know it cracks wide open, because a blue-lit spacecraft crashes in front of Sia's car, and it's carrying her mom, who's very much alive. As Sia races to save her mom from armed, quite possibly alien soldiers, she uncovers secrets as profound as they are dangerous, in this stunning and inventive exploration of first love, family, immigration, and our vast, limitless universe. All right, and as I said, this will be out from Simon Pulse, got it right this time, on August the 11th. Now, next up, I think this one is a YA, but I'm not sure, because it's coming out from Blackstone Publishing on October the 13th, and the author is Kristen Cast, who is the daughter of PC Cast, who writes like paranormal romance and things like that. And then they have collaborated with each other before. But this is a book called The Key to Fear. No touching today for a healthy tomorrow. Very of the moment. For 50 years, the Key Corporation has defended humanity against a deadly virus that spreads through touch. Lovers don't kiss or even hold hands. Personal boundaries are valued above all. Break the laws and you'll face execution. See, so things could be worse. Elodie, a talented young nurse, believes in the mission of the Key and has never questioned the laws that control her life. But Elodie is forced to break the rules when she sets out in search of a terminal patient who goes missing while under her care. From the outside, it seems like Aiden was given everything he could want from the Key, a purpose, an education, and a future. But Aiden knows more than he's letting on. And the dark secrets he's keeping could tear the Key's strict society apart. When Elodie and Aiden's lives collide, the fallout will be devastating. What do you do when the brutal system that once kept you safe hunts you down? Run. All right, and that is The Key to Fear. All right, finally on this week's batch, this is one that's pretty exciting. This is a book called We Ride the Storm by Devin Madsen. This will be out in trade paperback from Orbit on June the 23rd. And the ebook edition is already out, and this is in fact a book that was originally self-published about 2 years ago. And I think it may have won or placed very, very highly in the SFPBO, the blog off, the sort of the contest to find, really great self-published epic fantasy books that is hosted by Mark Lawrence. And so consequently now Devin Madsen has just gotten a 7-book deal with Orbit. So, nicely done. And We Ride the Storm, getting reprinted as the first of these. And it is described thus. War built the Kissian Empire. War will tear it down. That tends to be how war works, yes. 17 years after rebels stormed the streets, factions divide Kissia. Only the firm hand of the God Emperor holds the empire together. But when a shocking betrayal destroys a tense alliance with neighboring Chiltai, all that has been won comes crashing down. In Kissia, Princess Miko Tasai is a prisoner in her own castle. She dreams of claiming her empire, but the path to power could rip it and her family asunder. In Chiltai, assassin Cassandra Marius is plagued by the voices of the dead. Desperate, she accepts a contract that promises to reward her with a cure if she helps an empire fall. And on the border between nations, Captain Ra Itorin and his warriors are exiles forced to fight in a foreign war or die. As an empire dies, 3 warriors will rise. They will have to ride the storm or drown in its blood. All right, you get the idea. It's that kind of big scale, big states, lots of blood and thunder epic fantasy. And it will be out in trade paperback from Orbit on June the 23rd. And there you have it. That is what I've got for this episode of the Mailbag. You guys know the drill. Light up those comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you, which you would like to see me prioritize for review. And otherwise, if you enjoyed watching, please slam that like button, share the video far and wide, etc., etc., and please subscribe if you have not done so. That is how the channel grows. You can also support the channel at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon, where recruits into Wink's Army get little perks like getting early access to some of my videos. I want to thank all those wonderful people for their added support. It is greatly appreciated. I want to thank all the rest of you guys for being the very best viewers in all of BookTube. And until I see you this week for some murdering bots, stay safe and happy reading.